We all know Apple's ecosystem, right? It's sleek, it's secure, and let's be honest, it's utterly addictive. But there's a much better way to think about what it really is, a beautiful walled garden. And those walls, they are very, very high.
This quote, it just hits the nail on the head. It gets right to the heart of what we're exploring. Sure, those walls give you a safe, seamless experience. But what if they're also designed to keep you in? To make the idea of escaping feel almost impossible.
You know that feeling, don't you? Everything just works. It's perfect. Until you even think about leaving. That seamless connection is the magic for sure. But it's also the lock. So today, we're going to break down how this garden was built, why the walls are so darn high, and, here's the interesting part, who is now trying to tear them all down.
Okay, so first things first, let's take a little walk inside and really appreciate why millions and millions of people absolutely love living in this garden. Because this whole thing didn't happen by accident. Oh no, it is a meticulously designed experience.
It all really comes down to this brilliant three-step cycle. First, Apple makes incredible, world-class hardware, like the iPhone, that gets a ton of people in the door. Then they roll out these deeply integrated services, think iCloud, the App Store, that make the hardware even more valuable. And finally, our digital lives get so woven into those services that the hardware becomes indispensable. It just makes it so much easier to, buy the next Apple product.
That aha moment Tim Cook is talking about, that's the entire goal. Think about it. You pop open your AirPods and boom, they're instantly connected. You copy some text on your iPhone and you just paste it on your Mac. It feels like magic, but it's not. It's the very intentional result of controlling the entire system from top to bottom.
So what does this all feel like day to day? Well, it's that sleek, seamless experience with really high standards for security and privacy. You get a curated world of polished, high-quality apps. It's that classic, it just works feeling. And yeah, it does force innovation, but it's a very specific kind of innovation, one that happens entirely by Apple's rules. But this beautiful garden has a bit of a darker side. Let's talk about how it can start to feel less like a paradise and a lot more like a golden cage.
So here's the crucial point. It's all about this trade-off right here. On one side, you get this amazing convenience. Things like AirDrop, handoff, and continuity, they genuinely make your life easier. But on the other side of that coin is control. Apple decides what you can use, what you can buy, and what you can access. It's a classic bargain. You trade a little bit of freedom for a lot of ease.
And these are the golden handcuffs that keep you locked in. iMessage and FaceTime, they create social networks that are just really hard to leave. iCloud slowly becomes the home for your entire digital life, photos, files, backups, everything. Then you've got the seamless integration with things like the Apple Watch, or features like AirDrop and Universal Clipboard. Each one is like a single thread, but when you put them all together, they weave a very, very strong rope.
There's actually an economic term for the pain of trying to break that rope. It's called switching costs. And it's not just about the money you've spent on apps, it's the time, the effort, and the sheer psychological frustration of trying to untangle your life from this ecosystem. And Apple is exceptionally good at maximizing those costs.
And if you want the perfect example of a psychological switching cost, look no further. The blue bubble in iMessage isn't just a design choice. It's a status symbol. It's a social signifier. Being the green bubble in a group chat makes you feel like an outsider, a second-class citizen. It is a subtle but incredibly powerful tool to keep people from even considering a switch to Android.
So we've seen the what and the how of the walled garden. But to truly understand it, we need to look at the architect's blueprints and ask the most important question, why?
Yeah, why create such an intense lock-in? Was it just for the user experience, or was there a bigger, more strategic reason? Well, as it often does, the answer lies in the numbers. So check this out. This chart shows a really critical moment for Apple. Around 2015, the iPhone, their engine of growth for a decade, just hit a wall. Sales plateaued. For a company that relies on selling more and more expensive phones every year, this was a massive threat. The old hardware-focused model was running out of steam.
And this is where the new master plan becomes crystal clear. Just look at the difference in these profit margins. Hardware, like an iPhone, has a healthy margin, around 32%, but software and services, a massive 61%. The path forward was obvious. The real money wasn't just in the device anymore, but in what you do with it afterwards.
So, Apple pivoted. The whole strategy shifted. They stopped thinking of customers as one-time hardware buyers and started seeing them as long-term subscribers. And the ecosystem, that walled garden, became the perfect machine to turn every iPhone, Mac, and iPad owner into a source of predictable, recurring, and incredibly profitable revenue.
But here's the thing. When you build a fortress this powerful and this profitable, it inevitably attracts challengers. And right now, we're seeing some very powerful forces gathering at the gates, demanding that Apple lower the drawbridge.
And the attack is coming from all sides. Just in the last few years, the pressure has seriously ramped up. You've got the EU enforcing its new Digital Markets Act, the UK government making demands on security features, and of course, the US Department of Justice has filed a massive antitrust lawsuit. The garden is officially under siege.
What's really interesting is that the attackers are using different strategies. The US DOJ is using traditional antitrust law, basically arguing that Apple's entire lock-in strategy stifles competition. Meanwhile, the European Union is being way more direct with its new Digital Markets Act. It doesn't just argue, it mandates specific changes, like forcing Apple to allow rival app stores on the iPhone.
The DOJ's case is specifically targeting 5 key pillars of this walled garden. They're accusing Apple of suppressing super apps, blocking cloud gaming services, degrading messaging between different platforms, limiting what non-Apple smartwatches can do, and restricting third-party digital wallets. It's a broad attack.
So this is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? Will any of this actually work? We have to remember, Apple is one of the most resilient, most sophisticated companies in the world when it comes to legal fights. These battles are going to last for years. So success for the regulators is far from a slam dunk.
So that's where we are today. You've got this masterfully built fortress, loved by its inhabitants, incredibly profitable for its owner, and now it's locked in this high-stakes multi-front war with some of the most powerful governments in the world, all of whom believe its walls have just grown too high.
But you know, in the end, maybe the most powerful idea is this one. It brings the focus right back to us, the users. We're the ones who chose the convenience. We bought the products. We downloaded the apps, and we uploaded our photos. We helped build this beautiful cage, and for the most part, we've really enjoyed living in it.
And that leaves us with the one fundamental question that's at the heart of not just Apple, but the entire future of technology. After seeing how the garden is built and why the walls are there, you have to ask yourself, is the magic of it just works worth the price of admission? Is the convenience worth the control? The answer to that is probably going to define the next decade of tech.